Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining our Wellness Wednesday session. Today, I am going to be talking through understanding digestive health. Now, there will be a slight crossover from the bacteria one because they do intertwine, but hopefully you will still pick up some different tips to take away from this, as you did hopefully from the other one on bacteria as well. So we will talk through the digestive tract, its influence on health, and also food that will help support. Sorry, it won't. There we go. Sorry. Okay, you will also have seen this before. So approximately 70% of our immune system is found in our gut. And this is a really sort of clear statistic on how important our whole digestive tract is in maintaining our overall health and well-being. So if we start with our digestive system, our digestion begins as soon as we put our food into our mouth, and we start chewing. And chewing is the first step, and then saliva from saliva, so we gain saliva from our salivary glands. Sorry, getting tongue-tied there. And our saliva is released to soften the food, which helps also provide lubrication and allows it to pass down the esophagus and into the stomach, where the stomach acid will then further break down food before it passes into the small intestine and then the large intestine, where all these digestive enzymes are secreted from, say, the pancreas and the liver. Nutrients are absorbed, and also the large intestine is where waste food starts to bulk together and get ready for excretion. So that's our digestive system from start to finish. Now, again, you may have heard me say this before, but it is estimated that over 90% of exposure to microorganisms actually occurs within our gut or our digestive tract. And if we look at this in a little bit more detail, sorry, it does go into microbiology a little bit, but you can see where the bacteria will actually come from within the digestive tract. So the CFU stands for colony forming units. We don't really need to worry about that too much, but if we just look at the numbers, yes, they're all over our digestive system, but actually the majority will colonize along the gut wall in the colon. So what does this gut bacteria do then? It really does have a strong influence on our health and the overall function of our gut, which ultimately will contribute to our overall health and well-being of our immune system, etc. There are many beneficial effects. So it helps us to break down food in the large intestine. It discourages the growth of the harmful bacteria and microorganisms. It keeps everything ticking through more smoothly, which ultimately stimulates the immune system as well as producing some vitamins. On the other side of the coin, there's good and bad. The harmful bacteria, they are the ones that produce the toxins and the carcinogens. They make you feel unwell, and they also encourage the growth of the bad bacteria and may cause some intestinal gas. So again, I know I may be repeating myself from the bacterial one, but I just wanted to set the scene of the importance of all of this in terms of our diet and how we can maintain good digestive health. So with the bacteria, we need to create a strong protective barrier along the gut wall, or the colon in particular. As you've seen in the previous diagram, most of the bacteria will colonize along the colon wall. So there are 3 layers of defense within our colon. And this is the first one's called the epithelial layer, and this is single cell and the most vulnerable part of the whole immune system. Partly because it needs to be single cell for all the nutrients to be transported across the wall into the blood and transported to all our organs and cells to keep us nice and fit and healthy. We then have the mucosal layer. Now, this is another protective barrier, but as we age, it starts to dry out, just as, for example, all the synovial fluid around our joints will dry out as we age. This also happens within our gut, and, it's less effective as we get older, I suppose, or if there's any infections, etc. And then the third layer is our bacterial layer, and this is the one, as we said, you can actually influence through the food that you eat. And as you can see, so we have the good and the bad. The black is the bad, the red is the good, and we want to build that strong bacterial layer to stop the bad bacteria infiltrating through, causing toxins, carcinogens, infections, stomach aches, etc. So that's what we're aiming for through the food that we eat, and to help maintain a digestive health. Now, our lifestyle can also really affect our digestive health massively. If we have any changes in diet, so if you're perhaps trying to lose weight and you go to the extreme, or you have a very bad diet and live off fast food continuously, that will all impact our digestive health. The environment in which we live in will affect it. So whether we live in the country or more city, you think about all the bacteria and germs that are carried around, and when we're in close proximity to others, etc. Infection, again, environment and infection. If you think logically, if you're a runner and you go out in the winter, you go outside for a run, you may be more susceptible to infection because you're outside and have more exposure. Aging, as we age, our immune system is not as effective as we were when we were younger, as well as stress, whether that be through family stress or work stress. That also will have an impact on your overall digestive health, and therefore your reaction or your immune system reactions. Medication can also affect your digestive health. So a good example of that is actually antibiotics. So antibiotics, yes, they will get rid of an infection. However, what happens, particularly with the more mainstream antibiotics, they will completely wipe out all the bacteria within your digestive tract. So that's both the good and the bad. And therefore, you will really need to build up the good bacteria again, because you've lost that protective barrier. And that obviously will have an impact on your digestive health. So how can we maintain good digestive health? For me, there are three main ways in which we can do this. So we can help waste move through our digestive tract more smoothly. If it moves through smoothly, it's, less time spent kind of in the gut for pathogens to cross over and cause havoc. Also, number two is to ingest good bacteria to build that protective barrier. And number three is to ingest food that acts as a fertilizer to help the good bacteria grow. So it wouldn't be a Wellness Wednesday without the Eat Well Guide. And here we go. The Eat Well Guide is a fantastic way for you to have a healthy, balanced diet that isn't concentrating particularly on one food group or another, will help ensure that you get all the vitamins and minerals that you need to stay nice and fit and healthy, whilst also enjoying your food. We are allowed a treat, the plate, as we discussed last week. Yes, foods and drinks have sugar on the outside, but it does recognise that we may want a treat. There are healthier options of having that, and I'm not going to go through each food group, because we did that last week. If you weren't there last week, you can review the session on our YouTube channel. But, it kind of just everything in moderation and balance. So I'm now going to concentrate on fibre. So fibre is the key component to maintaining good digestive health. It is a non-digestible part of plants, and there are three kinds of fibre. So there's soluble, insoluble, and resistant starch. Now, on the next slide, I am going to go through what these three types are. However, one note I would make is that you don't need to concentrate too much on them, because all three are in a wide range of foods, provided you have certain food groups, and you don't need to concentrate on one in particular. So soluble fibre, what it really does is it supports the growth of the friendly bacteria to help maintain a healthy gut. And it can also reduce cholesterol by cholesterol absorbing and binding to that fibre in the gut and helping it pass through. It can also control the blood sugar levels, because it basically slows down the absorption and lets it tick on through, and there's slower release into the blood. And sources include fruit, oats and barley, as well as lots of other foods as well. Insoluble fibre, then, this is the stuff that adds the bulk to our stools, and it absorbs water. So basically, fibre is quite hard, so you do need to ensure you've got good hydration levels so that it can absorb, the water can be absorbed by the fibre. It doesn't dissolve in water. It does help you keep you regular. And good sources are things like wholemeal bread, your brown pasta, rice, etc. Now, resistant starch, so this really develops more during the heating and then cooling of some foods such as potato and rice. And basically, this is where, often these foods will have a low glycemic index. So glycemic index is a ranking of carbohydrate in foods according to how they affect blood glucose levels. So carbohydrates with a low GI are more slowly digested, absorbed, and then metabolized, and therefore they cause a lower and slower rise in blood glucose, and therefore usually insulin levels as well. So, if you have type 1 or 2 diabetes, you will be looking for the more low GI foods as well. In terms of how much fibre we need, we should be aiming for 30 grams per day. However, on average, as the general population, you're only consuming 19 grams. So it is really important that we start to increase our fibre intake. And towards the end of this presentation, I'll give you tips on how you can actually do that. The next point was active cultures, or ingesting the good bacteria to build that barrier. So basically, the bacteria we're talking about is not live yogurt. Live yogurt does not withstand the gastric juices to be able to pass through the stomach and colonize in the colon. So you really do need active cultures. And these can be found in the likes of fermented drink products such as your Yakult, Actimel and Activia. You can even take a supplement if you wish as well. It is really important to choose a good quality product. So it needs to be from a lactobacilli or bifidobacteria. It should be named in 3 parts. So for example, Yakult, there is a lactobacilli KCI shirota, and the number of the actual live bacteria or active cultures should be stated on the pack. If not, you should be able to ask the manufacturer this. Now, whilst I've mentioned these products, there are many other products out there. Just be cautious, it's not a live yogurt, it's different. So you should make sure that you are getting a good quality one. The next one is, we need to promote the growth of the good bacteria, and these will really act as fertilizers for the good bacteria to grow. And really, you should be able to get these from just a healthy, balanced diet because they are just normal food ingredients. So good examples are garlic. Again, this is widely used in lots of dishes, so easy to get. Leeks, bananas, asparagus, onions, and artichoke and chicory root are also really good examples as well. However, having a healthy, balanced diet, ensuring you've got a good amount of fibre a day, etc., will all help. I just wanted to touch on fermented foods now because they are increasingly coming on the market. It seems to be a trend, and actually I did find a statistic a while back that was saying that the younger generation were more interested in taking products such as fermented foods like kombucha, etc., rather than alcohol. So there's a complete trend shift. And these foods basically are made as a result of intentional or extensive microbial growth. They do have a very acquired taste, very, very sour, tangy, nearly a dominant flavour to a food that you may be having. And it can also be things like fermented pickle, etc. Whilst These have been shown, in different small studies that there may be some health benefits. The research does tend to be quite inconclusive and more is needed. However, there's nothing wrong with having these as part of a healthy, balanced diet because, again, it's a food. So, nothing wrong with including it. It's not going to harm you. I also wanted to tackle some myths in terms of digestive health. So here we go. Some people think that spicy food alone will cause heartburn. However, there are lots of foods that will cause heartburn. To try to reduce it, I would advise staying upright after meals, don't eat close to bed, don't smoke ideally, and if you're a little bit overweight, try and lose a little bit of weight, and that may help with heartburn. IBS, so irritable bowel syndrome, is all about diet. Unfortunately, if it was, it might be quite easy to fix, but it's not. IBS is very, very hard to actually diagnose. It can be due to many other things. Stress can bring on IBS symptoms if you're anxious, or even just gastrointestinal infections can create IBS as well. If you do feel that you have IBS, I would suggest that you keep a food diary, and you note down how you're feeling when you're taking a particular food. So if you get bloated, what was the food or what ingredients were in the dishes that you were eating, that made you feel bloated afterwards? And you may then be able to see a common theme. Bring it to the doctor and they will determine whether it's IBS, whether it's an intolerance, etc. Colonics are safe. So quite a few years ago, actually, these were all the rage, in terms of giving you a good clean out. So yes, they may take everything out, so all the bad bacteria, but they're flushing everything out, just like the mainstream antibiotics. And with that, then you need to actually top the good bacteria up. So this is why a lot of places that do offer colonics may also give you a prescription of active cultures to keep that bacteria, the good bacteria topped up again. And only beans cause gas. Again, fortunately, this isn't true. So beans and lentils can lead to gas and bloating. However, there are many other foods that will have the same reaction. And actually, maybe, just if you're having GI discomfort and bloating, maybe it is a little bit of IBS, maybe you are stressed. There could be other factors that are contributing to this. Also, for example, dairy foods are slowly absorbed carbohydrates, and they can also create some intestinal gas as well as some other medical conditions. So, my main food tips to maintain good digestive health. Not really much different to previous weeks because I am a believer in good balance, but we should eat a variety of foods. You've got to mix it up. By mixing it up will really help you actually increase your fiber intake. You should contain foods that do contain fiber. So again, this is quite easy, with your bread, rice, pasta and cereals. They naturally will contain fiber. However, opting for the whole grain options, such as your brown bread, brown pasta and brown rice, will help. And keeping the skins on foods that are suitable to keep it on. So your potato skins, you could have wedges with their skins on, chips with their skins on. You could have, as I said in one of my short video clips, you can even eat a banana skin if you cook it long enough, and that's very fibrous. Don't eat it raw, but you might want to try it. But eating the skin of an apple will increase the fiber content, or not peeling a carrot saves on labour and time. Just give it a good scrub and chop it and put it in the oven, etc., and you'll increase your fiber. Yes, it's only a minimal amount, but these little small steps will have a big effect in the long run. Aim for 5 a day. So the different vitamins and minerals you get from all the different colours. You should try and have a good mix of citrus fruits because these will also help soften the stools. And one portion for you is 1 handful. Include beans, pulses and legumes. They will also increase the fibre intake, and drink little and often throughout the day to maintain the hydration, because remember, you need to maintain your hydration so that the fibre can absorb the liquid to be able to pass through more steadily or more smoothly so that you don't become constipated. Do, however, watch what you're drinking, because this will contribute to your overall daily calorie intake. So ideally opt for water, sugar-free squash, diet zero drinks, etc. And a smoothie, as we mentioned last week, it will count as one of your 5 a day, but no matter how many you drink, only 150 millilitres counts as one of your 5 a day. However, again, this is another great example of where you can increase fibre, because say you had kiwi in your smoothie, you could keep the skin on and that would increase the fibre. So it's all kind of intertwined as to how you can maintain a healthy, balanced diet and maintain digestive health, which will help maintain overall immune health as well. Another sort of tip, more anecdotal evidence, but if you do get bloated and have like GI discomfort, drinking something like a herbal tea, in particular peppermint tea, may actually help, because it's shown to relax the gut and relax muscles in the gut, which then will help prevent the gas and feeling bloated. So it may be something that you'd want to try if you're feeling a bit bloated. As we've mentioned, right back at the start, stress can really affect your digestive tract. So when we're stressed, we do produce the hormone cortisol, and this can really disrupt your digestive health, because it will affect our bacterial layer and just overall kind of food passing through. It will affect our eating habits. So if you're stressed, don't have time to cook, you may be more inclined to eat fast food. That's going to have a detrimental health on your digestive health. So it's all intertwined. So if you're feeling stressed, my advice would be, to use breathing techniques to try and calm you down. Ensure that you keep or take time out. Talk to someone. A problem shared is a problem halved. If you feel there's too much work that you need to do, can you kind of share it out? Or if by talking to someone, will they be able to sort of help you reprioritize, because perhaps the amount that you have, you've just got in a little bit of a muddle, or feeling stressed and can't really see light at the end of the tunnel because you just don't know how to really tackle it. And talking to someone may help. Exercise, again, is another great way to relieve stress, but also help our digestive tract. So recent studies have shown that exercise will increase the volume and diversity of the good bacteria, which will strengthen that gut barrier, but also it will strengthen the internal muscles. So we do need, muscles to kind of within our esophagus, our intestines, etc., to push the food down through each part of the digestive system to get broken down and do everything that it needs to do. So whilst we know exercise will help us get toned externally, it will also tone us internally as well. So lots of benefits from exercise. It doesn't really need to be intense. Just being getting up and moving will help. So that could be taking, if you've got a dog, going out for a walk with your dog in the evenings, or taking a walk at lunch. If you have lots of calls during the day, with work, because majority of us are working from home, can you get up and just walk around the house whilst on the call? Little things like that will just make you be automatically more active without actually thinking about having to go out and do exercise on an allocated time frame. That said, we should be aiming for around 30 minutes of exercise 5 times a week, but you can incorporate this into your daily routine. So my overall top tips on good digestive health then: we need to exercise regularly, because it helps strengthen the gut wall and the muscles to pass everything through nice and smoothly. Eat slowly and chew your food properly. Now this may sound silly, but if we are living in a really rushed fast-paced life, we're not taking time to sit down and eat calmly, this will affect our digestive health. If we're swallowing bigger chunks, etc., it's harder for the body to break that down. So do make sure you give things a good proper chew. Don't eat on the go or when watching TV. Eating should be a pleasant experience. In an ideal world, it will always be calm. We'll have dinner with the family, we'll go out with friends, etc. But eating in front of the TV, you're going to be distracted, so you're not concentrating on what you're actually doing. And this the research has actually shown it can affect your digestive health. Eat small mouthfuls or portions of food, so yes, eat slowly, but don't kind of eat slowly but put loads in at the same time. Just eat calmly, I suppose, and really just take your time in what you're eating. And reduce your intake of high-fat foods. So the body finds it much harder to break these down, and therefore it's going to affect our overall digestive health, may increase intestinal gas, and just make you feel rather groggy, I suppose. So, just reduce the amount of high-fat foods. So again, this is very easy. You can always opt for the lower fat and lower sugar options. There's lots of them out there, such as low-fat mayonnaise instead of full fat, grill instead of fry. Lots of small steps that you can make that will contribute to your digestive health. So that's the end of the digestive health talk. I just wanted to remind you of our healthier recipe competition. So the deadline is next Wednesday, with the results announced on the following Wednesday. I have reposted it up on Facebook, our workplace Facebook. So make sure that you have a good read of the points that you need to keep to. So let's provide a minimum of 1 of your 5 a day. You need to swap an ingredient and state why you've swapped it. So it could be you've swapped from full fat to low fat, and provide an explanation of why your overall recipe is healthier. Ensure you provide a photo of this and then submit it to the ESS Nutrition email address. So that's essnutrition@compass-group.co.uk. Just a reminder then of our ESS YouTube channel. So there's a couple of videos on the webinars uploaded every week, as well as attached leaflets. So please do keep an eye out and subscribe, like and share to get our word out there. You can also go on to the Nourished Life website. So this is Compass-wide website. Lots of fantastic health and wellbeing advice on this. And if you have any specific nutrition queries, please don't hesitate to contact myself or Ebony on essnutrition@compass-group.co.uk. Next week then, we are going to talk about energy balance. So what is it? Understand the effects of not being in balance and how to work out your own individual requirements. So there will be a little bit of things that I'm planning on having a little activity for you, and where you can work it out yourself. So please do join us next week. Thank you.